day, everyone. I hope you're doing great wherever you are right now. I hope you are blessed with a healthy body, a sound mind, and a happy heart. And I also hope that I'm coming to you clearly both in audio and in video. Well, anyway, I am Nolan Cajes. I am presently connected here at Talibon Polytechnic College. This is a newly opened tertiary institution here in my humble municipality of Talibon. And I'm very happy to be able to reach out to you today through this platform. And I hope you'll be learning and you will be enjoying much as I do as we will continue to go through this interesting topic on leadership. But before I proceed to the main content, I want you to really picture out in your minds right now the faces of those people whom you considered your personal leaders, people who have created positive impact into your life, have inspired you, motivated you, and encouraged you, and contributed to the person that you are right now. Yes, it's always fun to recall their faces and also to refresh the lessons that they've taught us. And I know there's just a lot of them. And mind you, you also have created impact into the lives of others. You also have inspired others. You also have motivated others. You also have encouraged others and contributed to their success. What I'm trying to say is, you are also a leader. We are all leaders. There is a leader in you that has to develop. There's a leader in you that has to grow. There's a leader in you that has to come out to be the light for others, just as much as how we were enlightened with those lessons that have been taught by us, by those whom we consider our personal leaders. Because if you will be asked, leaders, who are they? I know we all have different answers. It can be your parents, it can be your brothers, your sisters, it can be your friends, it can be your relatives. They come in different forms, they come in different shapes, faces, they come in different status, they come in different packages. But the important thing is they have created impact into your life. Now, in the standards of the world, these are the faces of the world's greatest leaders identified by Fortune magazine. We have here Jeff Bezos of Amazon. We have here Dorothea Merkel of a German politician, Tim Cook of Apple, Pope Francis of the Roman Catholic faith, Aung San Suu Kyi, a Burmese politician, and our very own President Duterte. Now, we will not be talking in details their personal contribution in their respective fields, but we'll just try to see that really a leader comes in different forms. It comes in different races, comes in different ages. It's never too late to become one, and it's never too early to become a leader. Let's start with Jeff Bezos, how Jeff Bezos made Amazon the #1 online retailer in the World Wide Web. How German politician Dorothea Merkel opened Germany for millions of migrants and refugees. How Tim Cook continued the legacy of Apple. How Pope Francis carried the Roman Catholic faith in his shoulder. And how Aung San Suu Kyi, a Burmese politician, opened the mind of many people about democracy. And who can question the commitment of our very own President Duterte? Yes, they have proven that they have made a difference in their own field. No doubt about that. But I believe that we do not need to be powerful in order to become and to be called a leader. They all have different styles of leadership. And talking about styles, that's the content of this video presentation. We will be talking about 3 models of leadership, particularly situational leadership, transactional leadership, and transformational leadership. Now let's talk about situational leadership. This model of leadership has been developed by Dr. Paul Hersey and Kenneth Blanchard, and is predicated on the belief that there is no one best style of leadership, and that the best style of leadership will depend on the situation, the task to be performed, and the team performing it, and that the best leaders weigh these different variables affecting their situation, then select their leadership style. To better understand this model, let's try to look at this presentation. The y-axis, or the vertical line up here, is the degree of supportive behavior the leader uses The x-axis, the degree of directive behavior the leader exerts, is the horizontal line down here. D1 to D4 represents the level of development of people within your team. Okay. Now, the level of supportive behavior and the level of directive behavior determines the four leadership styles. What are these leadership styles? These are style number one, directing. Style number two, coaching. Style number three, supporting. Style number four, delegating. Now let's try to go through the four leadership styles. Style number one, or S1, is called directing. This is associated with autocratic leaders. Leaders makes decisions without consulting the subordinates. This usually happens if you're handling a new team, and this team needs your instruction and your directions in order to perform a specific task. This uses as an example. Before the opening of this semester, our department hired five new instructors. These five new instructors are obviously new in the academy, in the system. They don't have much experience yet because this is the first college teaching experience. Thus, they belong to D1, low competence, but their commitment is very high. This is usually the case of the newly hired. They are very eager to perform tasks. So what you need to do, if you have high committed subordinates, yet the competence is still low, you will be giving them instructions. Give high directions, low supportive, because they don't need much motivation yet. They don't need much push yet. They will do whatever you are saying because they're new and because they're very open to instructions. The second level is coaching. Coaching is more of democratic leaders. They sell their ideas and plans to the subordinates to obtain their cooperation. The leader lays out the plan. Then, the leader also values the opinions and the ideas of the subordinates. Now, I also have teachers who are already 2, 3 years in the academy. And with that, they have already undergone training. So they have low some competence, or they already have some competence. They are competent already in their particular task. However, if you are already 2 to 3 years in the service, 5 years in the service, the commitment starts to go low because of some factors. So, what the leader needs on this type of employees, you will have high directive, be giving directions, and high support. You'll also be pushing them, encouraging them, and really supporting them, and valuing also their side of the task. Now, the third leadership style is called supporting. Supporting, the leader participates in decision making, but most decisions made by the team often appear to be quiet because this leader works by example. Now, look at this presentation. This type of leadership requires low directive and high supportive behavior. Less direction is given to us by our college president because our college president would want us to do things on our own already. But she is giving us a lot of support. Um, she's showing us how to do things. This is learning by doing. She is giving us more of actions rather than directions. So this is the style number three. Style number four is delegating. The leader provides minimal direction and guidance in hands-off style, more concerned with the vision of the future than day to day. Now, in this presentation, S4 requires low directive and low supportive behavior. Why? Because your subordinates now can do things on their own. They're independent already because they have high competence, they are well trained already, they know exactly what to do, and they are highly committed because they are being well compensated, they are recognized, and again, they just reach to the level of independence. Now let's try to map the development level of our subordinates to the leadership style that we need. See, for example, you're handling a team or an organization, subordinates which are under low development, what you need is directing. If you are into medium development, you can either go for coaching or supporting. But if you're handling a team with high development, you can easily go for delegating. Say, for example, let me just try to use this as an example, and please allow me to share this. With all humility, with all humility, I'm currently the Dean of the College of Liberal Studies in our school, and as the Dean of this college, I'm handling 17 full-time instructors. These full-time instructors have different personalities, they have different attitudes, they have different needs and different backgrounds. And so I understand that I cannot deal with them at the same leadership style. For the newly hired teachers, newly hired instructors, usually we will be more of directing. We are more of giving instructions to them, training them, orienting them on the system, giving them total background so that they will be competent. And because they are new, the usual attitude of a newly hired is you're very enthusiastic, you're very excited, and they're very open to trainings. For those who are with you for quite some time, you can either go for coaching or supporting. For coaching, the level of support and the level of directing is almost the same. This is a group of teachers or instructors who are already competent. They know exactly their task. And their ideas are already valid. You already value their opinion, their suggestions. And from that suggestions, you are going to weigh what is best for the organization. For the supporting, there are those teachers and instructors who need less directing because they know already what to do. They just need support. Okay. Support can be learning by doing. Okay, that's learning by doing, and try to let them see how it's done. But directing, less on that. Your heads, in my case, I have two program heads. One program head for political science, and one program head for Bachelor of Arts in English Language. I am into delegating. I am confident that if they are given a task, they can easily perform and they know exactly how to do it because they are already competent and they already are committed and they know exactly how things are done because they are well trained. Now, to sum it up, the situational leadership model is a framework that states the best leadership style will vary depending on your situation. And let me just give this as another analogy. Say, for example, a doctor who is handling two different patients cannot give exactly the same medication because the doctor has to identify what this particular patient really is suffering and what remedy is appropriate for this particular sickness. What I'm trying to say is you have to identify the need, you have to identify the task that has to be done, and you have to identify the competency of this particular individual that has to do it. The model proposes four leadership styles, each one appropriate at different stage of development. And from that, I remember how John Maxwell also described his own levels of development. He said, on the first level, in order for them to transfer learnings to your instructors, to your faculty, to your teachers, first, for those who are newly hired, directing. It's more of I'll do it. It's more of giving them, spoon feeding them, basically. Okay. On the second level, on coaching, you say I'll do it and you watch. I'll do it, you watch. You let them observe. Now, for supporting, you will say do it and I'll watch. You allow the teacher to do the particular task. You do the watching, and you will just be giving the feedbacks, give them healthy criticisms in order to improve. And finally, the last level for delegating, you will just say, do it, because you already have transferred the learning successfully. So I'll do it, you watch, do it, I'll watch, and do it. Now let's talk about transactional leadership. Transactional leadership, based on the view of Max Weber, it says that it uses rewards and punishment to motivate subordinates. It gets its name because it relies on exchange or a transaction. And it's often called managerial leadership because it involves a lot of supervision, organization, and performance, which is very managerial task, isn't it? Here are the characteristics of transactional leadership. Number one, contingent rewards. Transactional leaders really wanted to get results done. And to make this happen as quick as possible, they will go into the self-interest of the subordinates and try to condition them that if they will perform well and complete a task, they will be rewarded. And if they fail to complete a task, they will be punished. If you have encountered leaders or mentors who who conditioned you that if you will be able to do this, you will get this, that's very transactional. Maintain status quo. This type of leaders, because they are very practical, they don't want change. They just wanted to follow what is already in the chain of command, which are they're already going to follow the system, which are already proven, clear, and they do not think outside the box. That's way out of their comfort zone. That's why this type of leaders are not so good when it comes to solving complex problems. Number three, management by exception. Because they wanted, again, the main focus of these leaders are really to get result. And because they wanted to get result, they will manage your subordinates and really give corrections on what they observe that is not performed well. Next, number four, short-term focus. Now, the focus of these leaders really depends on the transaction, really depends on the contract. Say, for example, you have to get this done within the next 1 week. Now, on this particular 1 week, the transactional leader will have to do what is being lined up, all the activities already planned for that particular span of time. The focus is just to get things started and to get things done. Number five, motivation. Extrinsic because this type of leadership doesn't really consider the concerns of the subordinates. They really focus on the task. They really focus on the result. Now, however, the world still needs these transactional leaders. Why? Because they are useful in times of crisis and turnaround situations. Just like in this time of pandemic, these transactional leaders are very important because, for example, you're going to give them a transaction. You have to come up with a vaccine for this particular span of time. Now, these leaders are very practical. They really will just focus on the task. They don't focus on any other factors. And yes, they are very effective at this point in time. They also work well where structure and systems are important. They are very common in sports teams. And transactional leaders have these following positive traits. They're very straightforward. They do not go around the bush. They go straight. And they're very practical. And also they're very transparent. Now, the disadvantages, though, subordinates are rewarded only in an extrinsic way. They're only given money, they're only given incentives. There is no really relationship built. The motivation is really coming from the outside. Even if you don't feel, even if the subordinate don't feel like doing it, he or she has to do it. He is obliged to do it for compliance purposes or for the transaction purposes. Individuals' creativity isn't encouraged as processes and goals are already set. Doesn't work well in an environment where flexibility is required. In transactional leadership, subordinates are not encouraged to find new ways of doing problem solving. You are not allowed to go outside the box. So, to sum it up, transactional leaders, also known as managerial leaders rather, motivate subordinates through rewards and punishment. They do not believe that subordinates are self-motivated. They believe that you have to motivate the subordinates with a reward or a punishment. And they are highly oriented. They don't care about the concerns of the subordinates. Transactional leadership is often compared to another type of leadership called transformational leadership. Now let's try to see why. Transformational leadership is a leadership that can inspire positive changes in those who follow. Transformational leaders are generally energetic, enthusiastic, and passionate. And they are not only these leaders concerned and involved in the process, they are also focused on helping every member of the group succeed as well. Just have a quick background. The concept of transformational leadership was initially introduced by leadership expert and presidential biographer James MacGregor Burns. According to Burns, transformational leadership can be seen when leaders and followers make each other to advance to a higher level of moral and motivation. Later, researcher Bernard M. Bass expounded upon Burns' original ideas to develop what is today referred as Bass's transformational leadership theory. According to Bass, transformational leadership can be defined based on the impact that it has on followers. Transformational leaders, Bass suggested, garner trust, respect, and admiration from their followers. This is a presentation showing the four I's of transformational leadership. The first I is inspirational motivation. Second, intellectual stimulation. Idealized influence. Third and fourth, individualized consideration. If you are a transformational leader, if you're going to see this presentation right here, it shows that transformational leader is very holistic. It involves the total package of a person. Inspirational motivation is the degree to which leader articulates a vision that is appealing and inspiring to followers. You are visionary and you're able to give the picture of success, this bigger picture, to your subordinates that will make them inspire about what is going to happen in the future. Intellectual stimulation, you are open to suggestion. The degree to which leader challenges assumption, takes risk, and solicit followers' ideas. You are open, you are allowing them to think, you're allowing them to explore, you're allowing them to really make use of their intellectual capacity and pushing them to their limits. In the idealized influence, you are becoming a role model for high ethical behavior. You are making sure that you are walking the talk and you are embodying the person that you are preaching. Now let's try to identify the relationship, roles, and responsibilities in the result from transactional and transformational leaders. Relationship for transactional leaders is exchange. You are doing this in exchange of that reward. You will be performing this because you will be given that. However, in transformational leadership, the relationship is really engaging. You are really submitting yourself to that relationship, to that person, in order for you to be changed and be influenced. For transaction leaders, incentives, the role is just to get the incentives. However, the role of leadership, transformational leaders, is to inspire, to really impact the life of that particular person. The responsibility of the transactional leaders is to control. You have to control the subordinates in order for them to really, in order for you to come up with a result. However, the responsibility of transformational leader is to empower. You have to empower, you have to edify, you have to uplift the spirit of that particular subordinate in order for that subordinate to become a totally different, empowered person. And the result is, yeah, for transactional leaders, you just want the job to be done, and that's it. However, the result that transformational leaders would want to see is the total change, the total transformation of that particular person. Let's have another comparison of transactional and transformational leadership. In leadership source, you can become the leader, the source of power. In transactional, if you have the rank, just because you are the president, just because you are the director, and all this and all that position. While in transformational, it really depends on the character, and it's because of the compliance, because you already have complied complied at this, because you have achieved all this and you already know the source of power. The follower's reaction for transactional is compliance. I have to follow because I have to, because this is part of my contract. However, if the reaction of the follower is commitment, that's transformational. You really wanted this total submission of yourself. You are committed because you wanted change to happen. Time frame for transactional is very short term. However, for transformational, it's long term. It's even lifetime. For the rewards, in transactional, it's about pay, it's about promotion, etc. How about for transformational leadership? It's about pride, self-esteem. It's about total development. It's about growth. It's about you being changed. It's about self-worth and fulfillment. Supervision in transactional, it's very important. It's very important that you as a leader will have to supervise, to check from time to time if things are being done accordingly, if they're following the rules, time in, time out. That's transactional. However, for transformational, it's less important because the commitment for that change to happen should be coming from you. You are your own boss and you are your own master when it comes to transformational. The change that is going to happen on you really depends on how much you wanted that change to happen. The counseling focus for transactional, you have to evaluate. Evaluate from time to time, day after day if needed. For transformational, the counseling is development, step by step. It's a process. It's a long way process. Transactional lead for transactional, the change happens on the on followers' behavior, while on transformational it's on the values, it's on the attitude, it's on the soul, the core. In in transactional, the leadership is found in the leader's behavior, while in transformational, the leadership is found on the follower's heart. The effectiveness of you as a leader depends on how much you have impact the lives of the people. In one of the videos of Dr. John Maxwell, he clearly identified the greatest transformational leader the world has ever seen. He embodies what is it to really be called a transformational leader, a leader who creates impact, who empowered or changed people to become their best version. In that transformational leader, without a doubt, is no less than our Creator, our Savior, our Messiah, my King and my God, Jesus Christ. Now, we cannot be as good as He is, but we can do small things in our own little ways. We can start to inspire people. We can start to encourage them and be the voice of hope, be a voice of motivation, be a voice of inspiration, so that we can also be contribution to the person that they wanted to become. I hope that this lesson has somehow convinced us to make a stand and take courage in making decisions that we are all leaders, in that we will all become intellectual simulators. We will all become inspirational motivators. We will become idealized influencers in a man for others. Thank you so much for listening. And this has been again Neil Nolan Cajes saying, have a great day, all of you. Shout out to all the classmates who are watching, listening to this video right now. Hope to see you soon when everything gets fine in Jesus' name. Thank you so much.